Hello friends, I'm Rosa, welcome to the channel. So, this video is up a little bit late. We are gonna go through my January TBR, even though on the day that I'm recording this is 10th of January, so like we're already 1/3 through the month. However, I have a funny TBR this month. It is my birthday month, so I have basically decided, also because I currently have access to KU, Kindle Unlimited, I've decided that I'm gonna make this, I'm declaring January basically smut month. But I'm also gonna read some stuff that's not smut. But it's smut month, okay? I'm sticking to it. I don't know, I just needed something that would take my mind off of the fact that I'm getting older, because at this point I'd like for it to stop. It's not gonna happen, so instead I'm gonna make myself happy and read funny books. Was that too much information? I'm sticking to it anyway. I said what I said. So many of these will be on Kindle Unlimited and, well, specifically US, and I won't have physical copies of them. So I'll be sitting like waving my arms around as I do when I don't hold a book in my hand. I don't know what to do with these two, so you'll be seeing a lot of that as well. But first though, we're gonna go through the book club picks. If you want to check out the book club, there's a link to it at the top of the description box in the pinned comment as well. And also, I just want to let you guys know that if you want to check out any of the books, I will be leaving links to them in the description box as well. So I got 4 physical copies that we're going to talk about. I think one of them I talked about last month as well, but I'm reading the majority of it here in January. Also, I've come to the conclusion, again, too much information, that I have commitment issues because I'm starting a lot of series this month and I'm not planning on finishing any of them. So that is the thing as well. Anyway, let's talk about books, shall we? So first off, we're talking about Half a Soul by Olivia Atwater, which is the first one in the Regency fairy tales. So these are all, as far as I know at least, companion novels, which means that they're kind of in a series, but they are standalones. In the first one here, we follow Dora, who is in a peculiar situation because she had half her soul taken from her when she was younger, and that means she doesn't really react the same way as a normal human would. So like, her emotions are basically, there's like a damper on them. So she doesn't get scared as easily and she doesn't get as excited as other people, and she also has a way of just not acting like a normal human would these days, or during the years that this takes place, which is like back in the day. Women had to be very in one specific way, and she's just not really living up to those expectations. So there's also fairies in this one, as you can probably tell. Well, maybe not Regency fairy tales, but it's like fairy as in fae fairy. Yeah. I mean, isn't the other one as well? But it's spelled F-A-E-R-I-E. We're moving on. Anyway, so Half a Soul, this is the primary book club pick for January, and I've read 30 pages of it so far. So that's why these are sticking out and stuff. But anyway. We also have Alone with You in the Ether by Olivia Blake, which honestly I can't really tell you what's about, other than it's a contemporary romance with a touch of fantasy somewhere in it. I have only read the first, I want to say like 10 pages or something, 14. And so far the vibe that I get is that the 2 characters, or at least one of them, is a little bit pretentious. So it kind of reminds me of the Atlas 6 in that way, because the cast in that one, definitely pretentious. It does say on the back though, Alone with You in the Ether is a contemporary love story like no other. Regan and Aldo allow us to explore the nature of love, what it means to be unwell, and how to face the fractures of ourselves and still love as if we're not broken. So that's all I know. Can't really say much else other than there are some father issues, or maybe not issues per se, but that Aldo, at least, there's something going on with him. I'm not sure what yet, but I'll figure it out. So that is the book club's secondary pick. But then we're also reading Gild by Raven Kennedy, which I think I talked about in my December TBR as well, but we started the read along very late in December, so I'm reading most of this in January. So far we are 15 chapters into it, and then I'm gonna be reading, I don't know, 7 chapters or something during this week. Having a lot of fun with this one, I'm not gonna lie. This is a retelling of King Midas. We follow a girl who has been taken sort sort of as a prisoner at some point in her life. I think she was like late teens or something. She is gold touched, which means that her skin is golden, her hair is gold, like she's just golden. Everything about her is golden. And so because of this, she is stuck in a cage inside King Midas's castle. That's where she's been for the longest time. That's where she feels protected, but at times she's also kind of like, she kind of wants to see the world. She misses being able to see the sky, for example. And in general, I just want to say that she's not very well treated, but she seems to be not fully aware that she isn't very well treated. Like, there's definitely a case of Stockholm Syndrome in this book, because she loves King Midas, but as a reader, you can easily tell that King Midas is a messed up human being. And so she loves him, but one day, as like a part of a deal with another king, he actually more or less sells her off to this other king for one night. So Oren's trust with King Midas is completely broken, and what happens when she learns that she can't actually trust the one person that she feels remotely close to at this point in her life. So that is Gild, and a little bit heavy at times, I'm not gonna lie. Like a little bit, I was been very nervous reading some of it. So, but also very bingeable. And then I actually finished this the other day, which I'm very sad about because I enjoyed it so much. I read volume 1 of Lore Olympus by Rachel Sneath, or Smythe. I'm not sure how to pronounce her last name, but this is a graphic novel and it's a retelling of Hades and Persephone. We follow Persephone as she is introduced into the world of the gods in this. Like, they party a lot and gossip a lot and scheme a lot, and she's just thrown into it finally, and she's very innocent in all of this. And then she meets Hades, who for some reason she's very taken with him, and vice versa as well. But the two of them are also not very good at talking, so there is that. I just quickly want to show you the art style because it's very unique and I very much like it. Like, okay, so this is at the start of the book. Like, this is very, very nice. And then just show you a little bit more, but I'm gonna find something without spoilers. Like, I really like it. All the gods have like different colors and such. So Persephone, or Core, is pink and Hades is blue and Apollo is, I think he's purple or something. Like, it's just very nice. I don't know. It's very nice, very vibrant, very colorful, very charming as well. So I've already ordered volume 2. I just really enjoyed it. I ordered it literally 2 minutes after I finished this. It was so good. I really, really enjoyed it. I got so sad when I ran out of pages because I thought I had another 2 chapters left, but no, I did not. So anyway, we're going to talk a little bit about this in the February wrap-up, but I still wanted to include it in this video. You'll probably find that I finished a lot of the books on my TBR already. That's because I was gone for 6 days. No. 4. Okay, 3. I just read a lot during those days. And now we're on the books that I don't have access to, which is why I'm sitting on my phone so I can actually see my list. So I've had my eye on it for ages. It's called The Predator by Runix. The thing is, I don't fully know what it's about other than it's dark romance, thriller, mystery, there's like crime in it and stuff. I mean, kind of has to be for it. Yeah. Anyway, but that's about all I know. I think it's slightly smutty as well. If I go into it and it's not, I'm gonna be severely disappointed because that's what I'm in the mood for. This is one of those that I really, really want to read. And I keep pushing actually starting it this month. What's wrong with me? Because then I become like, oh, like, I don't want to finish the book. And then I get sad when I actually finish the book. It's a whole thing. It's a situation. But I want to read that. All I know is dark romance, smut, one person is trying to kill the other one. That's a thing and it's a whole series. There's like 5 books or something. Very excited to get into it. Then another one that I've had my eyes on for a while is Hooked by Emily McIntyre. Yes. Which is also like a dark romance. On Goodreads it says that there's a hint of fantasy in it. From reading the synopsis, I can't tell what it is, but I'm just throwing it out there. There might be. And it's also a retelling of Peter Pan. So we follow, is it Peter or is it the other guy? I think it's James. We follow James. So James and Peter have been longtime rivals, and James has finally decided that he wants to ruin Peter for good. And so he decides to basically do this by seducing his daughter Wendy. Aren't James and Wendy siblings in the movie? Anyway, I feel like it would have made more sense if it was like Peter who was seducing I'm not gonna think about it, it's fine. So in this romance there's a bit of an age gap. while James is also seducing Wendy, trying to bring down Peter, his organization is failing. There's a traitor in the midst, and he has to figure out who the traitor is, who's actually ruining his business. And we also follow the book from Wendy's point of view, who is a little bit younger and is finding herself being very drawn to this older James. I keep wanting to call him Peter, it's a problem. Anyway, so that is Hooked. I think this is also a series, but I don't know if they are companion novels or if it's like an actual series, so you continue to follow these two characters, but I'll have to look into it once I've read Hooked. I've actually bought this a while ago on Kindle, so I'm gonna have to read it. And then another one that I've had my eyes on for a while. I've had my eyes on a lot of those Kindle Unlimited ones that seem to be books that seem to be kind of blowing up. Like Zodiac Academy as well is on Kindle Unlimited, but because it's so pricey to actually buy the paperbacks, I've not actually had access to them, except that I got them on sale. But that's a whole different talk. So another one of those is Broken Bonds by J. Bree, which seems to be very, like, suddenly got very hyped on specifically Instagram. I'm not sure about TikTok. What I do know though is that, and I've never read anything like this before, so that's why I'm so curious, but it's a reverse harem, which means that it's one girl and a lot of guys. I'm still expecting there to be a story that makes sense, I just want to say. Like, I can't just read smut. If I wanted to just read smut, I'd read erotica, and I can't do that, so I still need there to be a story. But this is a series of 6 books, so I don't actually know if it changes from character to character. I have no idea, I just know that each character, so the girl and the 5 guys, are on each of the covers. But we follow a girl who has been bonded and then ran away. So 5 years later, she's been caught up with and has been brought back to these 5 guys. I don't know what bonded means. I have no idea. Excited to figure it out. I'm expecting it means that she's bonded to 5 guys, but I don't know. I got many questions. But because she ran off, she might have some issues with those guys as well. The synopsis that I've had access to is very unclear, but the hype has me curious, and now I have access to it, so I'm gonna check it out. Oh, I think I forgot to say, but this is also paranormal romance, so fantasy, and yes. And then another series that I've had my eyes on for a long time is, I think it's called Savage Lands. Yes, the series as well as the first book is called Savage Lands. And these are by Stacey Marie Brown. They are contemporary fantasy and then involve romance and fae. So we follow a girl, but it takes place in Budapest. And there's been a war between privileged people, specifically it says in the synopsis, and then fae in Budapest. And they're kind of on the on the brink of breaking into another war. So our lead girl has grown up privileged after she was orphaned, but she was taken in by someone, a general or something, and was brought up at his house. And then she, for one reason or another, ends up in this like super dangerous prison where the worst of the humans and the worst of the fae are. So as a human, and also one who used to live pretty privileged, she doesn't really know what to do. Humans in this prison are also in the hierarchy on the bottom, so the only way that they can actually survive actually being in prison is by making deals with the fae there. So our elite girl finds herself in a bit of a situation and has to make a deal with this like super dangerous fae who's also at the prison. And there might be a bit of an attraction growing between the two as well. And at this prison too, there's something like a tournament or something where it turns out that people have to fight to death. So like the one who survives gets to win. Does she have to fight him? Because I read that book recently. We'll talk about that in the December wrap-up, but does that happen in this one too? Do they have to fight? Anyway, we'll see. I've had my eyes on the series for a long time by now, so I'm very excited to get into it, but I keep pushing it as well. I don't know. What is wrong with me? Like I mentioned, commitment issues. Anyway. This is also a 6-book series, so don't think I'll be able to both read this one and Broken Bonds in January, but maybe I'll save some books for the future. And then I'm finally finishing the, what is it called? Throne of Feathers and Ice and Feathers. A Court of Ash and Honey trilogy. So it's just 3 books. They are written by Shannon Mayer and Kelly St. Clair. And they are like contemporary fantasy with romance as well. I don't remember exactly what happens in the first one, but I haven't read the 3rd one yet, so I got access to that right now. It's a quick read. I'll get it over with quickly as well, but finally I'm actually gonna finish a series. I'm very proud of myself. In this book though, we follow a girl who is half fae, as far as I can remember, and to find her place in the Fae community, or whether she ends up in the Seelie court or the Unseelie court, she and a bunch of other half fae have to, because it's only the half fae who have to do this, have to go through different trials. So if you go through these trials and nail every single object, or whatever that's called, you get like a very high standing spot in whatever court you belong to. Our girl does pretty well. However, at the end of the trials, something happens and she ends up breaking this like realm that the Fae own. This is like, they've settled down in our world. However, they come from another realm and there's a portal leading to this realm. But our lead girl at the end of the trials broke the portal somehow. So this is highly illegal. And so she quickly finds herself on the run. She both has to, while on the run, figure out what happened to the portal, how did she manage to break it, but also the person that they've sent after her is like an old flame of hers. And so there's a bit of an enemies to lover situation in there as well. And that's all I'm gonna say about it, because that's before I start mixing the first and the sequel up, and I just don't want to know. Not spoiling anything, so that's all I'm going to say on that. But I finally have access to the 3rd one, so I'm going to be reading that here in January. I'm currently reading What Lies Beyond the Veil by Adelaide Forrest, which is another Fae book. Lots of Fae books. I actually used to be very not interested in Fae books, and then I read Throne of Glass, but I chose not to read A Court of Thorns and Roses because I was still like, Fae, whatever. I don't know. And then I read them like 2 years ago. I can't remember, it's fine. But yeah, I used to be very not into Fae. Who would have thought? But in What Lies Beyond the Veil, we follow a girl who is not really, she's very poor. She lives at this like, I almost want to call it a castle, but fort maybe? Anyway, with her brother and her mom. Her mom is disabled as well, she doesn't walk very well, and so they're not really able to leave, but the girl at this place, mansion, oh, I should probably say the mansion is owned by a guy called Lord Byron, who is a douche. That doesn't even cover it. He is an evil man. So she is mistreated by him, abused by him, and also the priest there at the temple, which is close to the mansion. And she's just in general not really living a good life. The thing about this version of the world is that years and years ago, the Fae world and the human world were split apart, kind of. It's protected by a veil. For some reason, the temple and the people running the temple have decided that every year they have to sacrifice someone to protect the veil. Keep it running so they can protect the humans from the Fae, because the Fae are not good. At least not the very powerful Fae. However, lo and behold, as you can probably tell from the title of the book, something happens one day and the veil breaks, and our girl suddenly finds herself on the run, away from everything she knows and everything she hates as well, except from her family maybe, but she's just on the run, finally on the run. And then she also bumps into a guy called Caleb who might be carrying some secrets, and there's something about Fae marks and stuff. I've actually not read the synopsis, so I don't know if I just overshared, but that's the synopsis that I'm gonna give you. Was it confusing? There's a reason I don't write synopses, and you just learned why. Yeah. And a couple of books that I actually have read, but that are still on my TBR. I got 4 more. The Duke and I by Julia Quinn, which I don't think I have to summarize, but I finished it a couple of days ago, but I just want to quickly tell you guys about it anyway. Obviously, this is the one that the first season of Bridgerton, the Netflix show, it covers this book. So we follow a girl who is from a very big family. She has 7 siblings, 4 boys, 4 girls, and she is finally introduced. How do you say that? I forgot the term for it already, which is weird because it also happens in Half a Soul. They talk about it in What Lies Beyond the Veil, and I still can't remember what the term is, but like she is it's marrying season. Does that explain it? Anyway, she has to find herself a husband. But it's not easy, because men tend to not really see her as wife material, but more as like friend material. And so, her big brother has a friend who has been abroad for a while. His name is Simon, and he's a duke. He's also incredibly rude. Everyone kind of likes him because he's very handsome and he has like an aura and an attitude, but at the same time, I find him rude. I probably wouldn't have liked him, I'm not gonna lie. He also has a bit of a reputation. He's known as being a rake, which is a womanizer? Yes. So one thing leads to another. The two of them actually apparently get along very well, like very friendly like, and he has to save her from a situation. Unfortunately, he also finds himself very drawn to her, and I'm not sure that I want to say this much if you don't actually know, but I'm expecting everyone to have watched Bridgerton or at least know the story. But there's an arranged marriage at some point in this book because of something that happens. A lot of miscommunication as well. And Simon, as just a point as well, does not want to get married and does not want to have children. And all Daphne wants is a husband and to have a family. So there's a bit of an issue there. But I read it already. We're going to talk about it in my January wrap-up at the start of February. I also already read All Systems Red, which is the first one of the Murder Bud novellas by Martha Wells. And in this one, we follow a murder butt, a robot, who's actually a security unit, but they have hacked themselves, so the thing, or like the part of themselves, because it's a robot, it's built of parts, yes, or built up by parts. The thing that actually makes it take commands, it's hacked that part of itself, and so it doesn't just take commands, it also has feelings all of a sudden. And it's a lot of fun to read. It's very sarcastic and very introverted and very anxious, and I don't know, it's a very charming robot, but it's a lot of fun. Been wanting to read those for the longest time as well, and the majority of them are available on KU, so I took my shot. Don't regret it for one bit. Definitely want to read more of them. Other short story that I've also read that is also on my TBR for January is, I can't say this on YouTube. I'm gonna go ahead and say it anyway. Mindfuck by St. Abbey, which is actually two authors, like St. Abbey. If you hadn't noticed, it says Stabby. I didn't notice until I wrote it down. I don't know, I'm a bit slow sometimes anyway. But it's two authors that are co-writing these short stories. We basically, in short, follow an FBI agent and a serial killer. The FBI agent is a man and the serial killer is a woman, and the FBI agent happens to be on the serial killer's case. But there's also a romance because they might meet like outside of work. And what happens when hidden identities are not hidden anymore? I don't actually know. We'll see. But on my TBR, I just want to say what I've read so far is very fun, and the lead girl is definitely, she's a tough one. Like she's a tough nut. I don't know. Is that how you say that? I don't know. And then the last one that was on my TBR for January is the Tea Dragon Festival. These are by Kay O'Neill, which is the sequel to the Tea Dragon Society, which is basically like cute middle grade graphic novels. There are 3 total, I think, and we follow different characters. They have tiny dragons in the sequel. There's a dragon that is not tiny as well, and in this one it's about, I actually know what it's about, other than like what, it's more like vibes, but also finding your spot in this society or in this community, not a society, but finding your spot in this community when you've been asleep for 1,000 years, you know, making bonds and stuff. Yeah, it's just good vibes. I think that's the best way I can describe those books. They're very cute. So that's my January TBR. Bit of a weird one because I'm starting this video, or I'm making this video so late, but so I've already read a lot of them. I still wanted to make the video. Also so I can call myself out when I, in February, start talking about all the books that I read, and it turns out that I've read none of the ones that I really wanted to read. Because I tend to do that. I tend to skip over the ones that I really want to read because I'm like, no, I can save it for a rainy day. Those rainy days, I swear they never arrive, so I should just read them. But my brain doesn't work that way. Anyway, so we'll see. Again, if you want to check out any of the books, I have made sure to leave links to them in the description box. And if you want to check out the book club and read Gild alongside us, but also Half a Soul, possibly also Alone with You in the Ether, if you want to. There's a link to the book club in the top of the comment section in the pinned comment. But that's all I got for you guys today. So let me know what books you're starting out 2023 reading. And if you've read any of the books that I've talked about today and you liked them or disliked them, let me know as well. But I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, feel free to hit the thumbs up. And if you want to see more videos like this, but also wrap-ups, readathons, book hauls, bookish unboxings, and all the other booktube stuff, definitely consider hitting the subscribe button. However, I'm gonna leave you to it. So I hope you enjoyed this video, and I'll see you all in the next one. Bye-bye.